right, good morning, everyone. How are you? Thank you for coming. I'm Greg Stanton, Mayor of the City of Phoenix, and I want to thank all of you for being here as we unveil another great way that we can paint Phoenix purple. And I want to thank my colleagues on the City Council, Councilwoman Pastor and Councilman Jim Waring, for attending here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. So October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And behind us, right here, is the next step in our important awareness campaign, painting a light rail train purple in efforts to raise awareness about the issue, the tragedy that is domestic violence. This is an extremely important issue to our city. And that's why we are here today, to ask for your support to help spread the word. We know that tragically, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical domestic violence. In one way or another, domestic violence impacts all of us. In just the first half of this year, 2015, the National Domestic Violence Hotline documented over 79,000 contacts. Sadly, our city, Phoenix, ranked 6th in the country in terms of contacts to that hotline. Although we would like to diminish the need to call domestic violence assistance, we are proud to say that Phoenix citizens are becoming increasingly aware of the important services that the hotline provides, programs and services such as crisis intervention, safety planning, referrals, domestic violence education. This increased awareness is directly attributed to the success of the City of Phoenix Paint Phoenix Purple campaign. Our city is proud to have helped launch the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign in 2013. Since launching this campaign and creating our roadmap to excellence, hundreds of victims of domestic violence have been helped directly. Tens of thousands of Phoenix residents have been made aware of the signs of abuse and available resources to them and their families or friends or work colleagues who may be victims. As a city, we've created a centralized intake system for domestic violence cases, and as a result, last fiscal year we received 11,777 calls. Of those, we screened 1,420 for emergency shelter and placed 332 victims in permanent housing through our city housing specialists. Phoenix has also created a domestic violence resource manual for employers to ensure that they have domestic violence information and appropriate workplace responses. As everyone here knows, domestic violence is a tragedy on many levels, and one of them is lost work time. We become a less productive city if we don't do all we can to end domestic violence. City of Phoenix employees have also done extensive community outreach, such as participate in youth town halls about domestic violence prevention. We've engaged more than 12,000 students through resource fairs, art, and dance contests. So I want to thank the entire Phoenix City Council because we've embraced and supported this critically important campaign. And I want to thank our incredible professional staff members at the City of Phoenix and our community partners who continue the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign every October. But really, it's a year-long effort, a year-long campaign to address domestic violence issues. And now I'd like to bring to the podium Allie Bones, the CEO of the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, and a great leader in our community. Allie.
Good morning. Again, I'm Allie Bones. I'm the CEO of the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, and I want to thank the mayor for his amazing leadership on this issue, and thank the members of the council who have supported us in all of our efforts over these last 3 years. And I also, again, want to thank the wonderful staff of the City of Phoenix. They have done a tremendous job with raising awareness and making sure that this campaign goes huge. So the purpose of this campaign was to create a culture change in which domestic violence is openly talked about, not condoned, and that victims know where they are supported and have a safe place to go. We still have a ways to go, but we have made tremendous strides. When we started Paint Phoenix Purple in 2013, I couldn't have imagined that in our third year of the campaign, we'd have cities and counties all over the state, as well as the state itself, going purple for October. Even with the expansion, the city of Phoenix alone has done a tremendous job getting word out about the campaign and raising awareness about the issue of domestic violence through the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign, through wrapping waste trucks, magnets on all city cars, billboards and posters, and awareness materials throughout all city buildings. This year, with this light rail train wrap, not only is Paint Phoenix Purple being promoted, but we are giving out the most important resource for victims to call when they are ready to seek help and support, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. In 2014, the hotline documented over 4,000 contacts from Arizona. 38% of those calls came from the city of Phoenix. In the first half of 2015, as the mayor mentioned, the hotline received 2,615 contacts from Arizona, putting us on pace to shatter last year's numbers. And 42% of those calls came from Phoenix, indicating that our outreach and awareness efforts are having an impact. The hotline routes callers to local resources in the community in which victims want to receive help. Here in Maricopa County, that means that if a victim wants shelter, they're routed to the centralized screening intake system run through a New Leaf Stevie Stop that the mayor mentioned. Centralized screening is a major success of this roadmap to excellence that the mayor talked about because of a grant supported unanimously by the mayor and council. Now we have all of the emergency domestic violence programs in the valley using centralized screening as the access point for emergency shelter in this region. Victims no longer have to call all the shelters to find out who has space, and the hotline doesn't have to refer to victims to a program that has no capacity to take them. While it is important to raise awareness and make the city and everywhere purple during the month of October, the most critical thing we can do is connect victims to resources that will help them escape the violence they are experiencing. Even if just one person sees this light rail train and makes the call, it will be worth it. But my gut tells me it will be a lot more than that. Thank you again to the mayor and council for your leadership in helping to bring awareness about a much needed issue and focus to this difficult topic. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to introduce Memory, who's going to share her experiences of calling a hotline. Thank you.
And it's really validating to see things like this. They really help survivors like myself feel valid. You know, you guys care. There's so many more of us out there. And it makes us feel really good. So, like Allie said, I did once, actually 3 times, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I called after an incredibly bloody experience, and I called a second time after a less bloody experience, and the third time I called because I was really ready to make a change, and I didn't know what that looked like. At the time, it wasn't feasible for me to call law enforcement. Eventually, of course, I did, but you know, I think one of the things that is true is that those of us who have survived domestic violence, we started out as victims of domestic violence, which means that we are severely brutalized by somebody we love and who is supposed to love and honor and cherish us. Our families, supportive or not, functional or dysfunctional, you know, have said, why don't you just leave? What'd you do to piss him off? Why you're so stupid to allow that to happen to you and you stay, you must like that, you be treated that way. And assuming you have any friends left, because friends are the first thing that goes in a domestic violence relationship, they don't stick around long either because they are, you know, they get tired of hearing it. You know, if you call the police, child welfare is likely to get involved, and if you have children, it's very, very likely that you will lose your children. Contact the hospital, medical staff, mental health professionals, educators, mandated reporters, all of them, you know, required to make a report to law enforcement, which gets child welfare involved. You know, it's a whole cycle. Church leaders are like, they can offer prayer, maybe some pastoral counseling with the two people together, and that's counterproductive. So then who is a victim supposed to turn to? An anonymous phone call to an 800 number with a trained domestic violence advocate who presumably is operating under the creed of start by believing and abuse is never the victim's fault. Just may be the last vestige of hope and the difference between life and death for this victim. You know, they might be the last person, the non-judgmental person that are willing to listen. And, you know, hotlines save lives, and that's why they exist. Thank you.
Memory, we are so glad that you are here. We are so glad that you are sharing your story to help empower other people to make the same choices you did to escape domestic violence. Your courage is inspiring. Let's give her another big round of applause. Thousands of people throughout this valley will see the Paint Phoenix Purple light rail train wrap. And our hope is that it will inspire others, just like Memory, to speak out against domestic violence, to take steps to end domestic violence, whether they themselves are a victim, maybe you know a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a colleague at work. Thank you everyone for being here today. Let's go paint Phoenix purple. Have a great day.